Good morning, YouTube. It is Tuesday, March 12th, 9:28 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you're watching this on the beautiful platform known as YouTube.com, you can check these out live every morning around 9:20 a.m. Central Standard Time on playback.tv/SlightlyBiased. If you're watching this on playback.tv/SlightlyBiased, you can watch this in its entirety over on the Slightly Biased Clips channel today. What are we talking about? The Mavericks have won 3 consecutive games. Just an absolute blowout against the Chicago Bulls last night. The Pistons beat the Hornets. The Suns, they're kind of playing some pretty good basketball currently. The Nuggets, that 1 seed is in their sights. And you could kind of tell, right? You can kind of tell that they had been coasting a little bit. Right? And now that the 1 seed's right there, they want it. I think everyone kind of understands if the Nuggets have home court throughout the Western Conference playoffs, it feels very unlikely that somebody besides them comes out of the conference. And it feels like they're now starting to get going. They're starting to lock TF in. Let's start here. Adrian Wojnarowski, friend of the show. ESPN sources, amid a considerable franchise turnaround, Orlando Magic coach Jamal Mosley has agreed on a 4-year contract extension that'll take him through the 2027-2028 season. Magic are a half game out of 4th in the East and top 5 in defense. That's right, guys. That's right. Jamal Mosley, former assistant coach with the Dallas Mavericks, doing a tremendous job over there in Orlando. Very, very, very much deserved this contract. Easy decision for the Orlando Magic. Of course, anytime Mosley gets brought up, it's met with, I wouldn't say sadness, but more so like, fuck, he could have been the Mavericks coach. I want to say, I do actually have a question that, I feel like I could look into, but I'm not going to. How often, whenever a coach gets let go or fired, which I know Rick left amicably, that was a firing. Like, he was going to get fired, okay? How often does that happen and an assistant on the staff step in to be the new head coach? Because I feel very rarely does that happen. I'm trying to think off the top of my head of current coaches in the league. And yet you have like your examples like Jacques Vaughn, who stepped in as an interim coach and then was eventually named the head coach. I'm pretty sure that same exact thing happened with Joe Mazzulla. Right? Was Ty Lue, right? Ty Lue with the Cavs, but those are all like, that was mid-season. I'm not talking like mid-season coach firings, and then the assistant coach steps in, gets the interim tag, and then eventually becomes the head coach. I'm saying an offseason is going on, a coach gets let go. How often does an assistant coach fill into that void? I feel like it's very, very rare. Trying to think of all of the head coaching hires this year. This past summer, right? You had Frank Vogel, obviously wasn't with the Suns in any real capacity before that. Adrian Griffin, obviously, was with the Raptors, wasn't he? Spoelstra. The Heat operate on different levels, but that's a good example, actually. That's actually a great example. So it is very rare, and I feel like there's reasons why it's rare, because I think whenever you get rid of a coach or you split, you part ways with a coach, you kind of want to part ways. The entire staff changes usually. Maybe there's a few holdovers here or there, but for the most part, the staff changes. And beyond that, there's a difference between being an assistant coach and a head coach. I keep seeing like, oh, well, the Mavs players loved him. And that's true. It seems like they had a lot of love and respect for him. But there's a difference between having that love as an assistant coach and then being the head coach. Am I wrong? Because I'm thinking about it like just from my sports days, which weren't at the level of the NBA. Obviously, close, but not at the level of the NBA. And your assistant coaches, you have a different relationship with an assistant coach than a head coach. Like it's a different relationship. Then when an assistant becomes the head coach, things change and get a little bit weird. If that makes any sense at all. So, yes, it would have been great if the Mavericks kept Jamal Mosley, but it didn't seem like a thing that happens too often. Spo was under Pat. Yeah, was Spo ever on the assistant staff? I mean, I'm sure he was, but like I'm just trying to think of current coaches. How many of them were assistants on the team before becoming the coach? It feels like not many at all, without it being an internship. Not an internship, being an interim head coach. I didn't say internship, by the way. I said internship. I'm looking at the teams who played last night. A Kid, obviously, no. Billy Donovan, no. Obviously, Monty Williams, no. Vogel, no. Bickerstaff, no. Kerr, no. Pop, no. Darjakovic, no. Nuggets, Malone, no. So, anyways, congratulations to Jamal Mosley. Much deserved. Much deserved. He's doing a great job over there in Orlando. A game out of the 4th seed is kind of crazy, huh? Like them having home court in a first round series would be nuts. Now they've gotten a tiny bit lucky with the Sixers kind of dying and the Knicks dying. Well, you got to give them some props, man. You really do. All right, let's talk about some of the games last night. Leading off with the Dallas Mavericks, who win their 3rd game in a row. For the last season, post All-Star break, I always bring this up because it is something that's always in the back of our mind. Post All-Star break, the Mavericks did not win 3 games in a row at any point. Their longest winning streak was 2, and even that was a fucking joke because it was that awful, horrific Spurs game that went into overtime because Maxi Kleber threw that pass into the backcourt. You remember that? And then the Maxi Kleber game-winning 3 against the Lakers. That was the only time they won back-to-back games. Now they're at 3 straight games. The defense, it's been all over the map. You know, I saw on the Dallas Mavericks subreddit last night, which is something I, never. First and foremost, can I say this? Can we already kind of take already derail the show a little tiny bit here? Can the Spurs shut the fuck? I'm sorry, not the Spurs. Can the Timberwolves and their fans shut the fuck up, please? Please, guys. Please. You guys are becoming insanely annoying. Insanely annoying with the officiating. I've watched a lot of Timberwolves games. I honestly can say I've never really left thinking you guys have gotten shafted at any real point. And I definitely did not feel that way against the Lakers a few nights ago. Okay? When Anthony Edwards came out after the game and was crying about the officials. Please. It is such a terrible look and embarrassing. Please reel it in and get it together. I beg of thee. Okay? Anyways, sorry. NBA's insecurity is always loud. Kind of ironic you're saying that in this context. So anyways, I saw it on the Dallas Mavericks subreddit that Kid, they completely changed their defensive scheme during the All-Star break, which is kind of hilarious considering how terrible their defense has been post All-Star break. But it might be starting to work a little bit. Here's a quote I was looking for. We're looking at something new defensively, and the guys did a really good job of doing that. Kid said we're rotating around one person. That's what we're looking at doing right now. We'll pick someone that we're going to rotate around, and that one person will be the help at all times, and we'll just rotate around that one person we choose. This will take more time to break down. We'll do it soon, and it'll be easier to explain the specifics. The specifics. I thought that was an E for some reason. It's a kind of a weird font, in my defense. A little bit of a strange font. That little curl there kind of looks like it could be an E. I'm thinking to myself, saying out loud, that's not a fucking word. Of the team's zone principles, and sometimes actual zone defenses once the Mavs play a few more games. But what's important is that the team's coaching staff did not feel these defensive nuances could be introduced within the roster it had before the trade deadline. Oh, for sure, Kit said, when after the team's new schemes came from the deadline additions. So there you go. They have implemented a new defensive scheme. Now, I'm just going to say from my eyeball test, what this reads to me is we want Luka to not be running around the court. That's what it reads to me immediately. And I'm not a trained basketball eye, so I could be very, very wrong there in that regard. The Reddit comments were absolutely grilling him. Oh, we were playing pretty okay defensively right before break. And that's true. However, they must have saw something that they didn't like, or they must have thought, hey, you know what? There's a scheme that we can implement that can do even better. So we'll see how it all plays out. It's been pretty good over the last 3 days. We'll see how it works out long term. The scheme is take Josh out of the starting lineup. Well, part of if this is how you're going to play, where you're going to help around one person, you need guys who aren't going to die on screens, and it just completely and totally breaks down your defense immediately. So I like their starting five currently. It's the starting five they need to rock with. Nick asked me last night on Locked On, Josh Green or Derrick Jones Jr., like who's more important in the playoffs for the Mavs? It's something I did not think about, really. But the answer is pretty clearly Derrick Jones Jr. I mean, his defensive profile is very important in a playoff setting. Where Josh Green, Josh Green's a great off the bench guy. You know, I do think his long-term fit is a little bit wonky on this team, but also I'm not entirely sure what Josh Green's ceiling as an NBA player is. You know what I mean? Haven't heard your thoughts on Lively not starting. I personally hate it. I think it's been fine. You know. I mean, Lively himself last night said he hit at the rookie wall. So. So, you know, hey, look, if you're going to be in that comment section there on Reddit, shitting all over Jayson Kidd for doing this, you know, you got to give some, like, hey, maybe it's working. They had their best defensive performance of the year last night. They had their best defensive performance of the entire season. So maybe there is something that's starting to cook a little bit. Now, the problem with the type of defense, again, untrained basketball eye, is that you do kind of open yourself up to get picked apart a little bit. I mean, not only was it their best defensive performance of the season, it was one of the best in the entire league. 94th percentile defensive rating last night. And look at this, creep it up. Last 3 games, above average defensively. By Mavs standards, very, very good defensively. Even this 124 by the Pistons was a little inflated. And then look at this fucking stretch right here. After this stretch right here. Look at this shit. I mean, what are you supposed to take away from this team ever? Hilarious. Look how good the offense has been. Now, the offense has been absolutely clicking and firing. That's what's a little bit exciting about the Mavericks. And they haven't even shot the 3 ball that well lately. They haven't even shot the three ball that well. Like, they haven't had some weird, crazy outlier 3-point shooting game in a long time. 40% from three against the Heat. That's good. But during their winning streak, they were rattling off, 45%, 43%. Last 3 games, 33, 34, 40. Yeah, Kyrie's been kind of slow in some of these games. Just hasn't hit his shots. I think he's been fine. I'm not worried about him at all. But it's kind of exciting. Kind of excited to think about this offense firing on all cylinders. Currently, they're getting great looks from three, just not hitting them. There's going to be a couple of games in the near future, I think, where those threes start to fall, and there's an offensive outpour. You think a 6 seed is back in sights for a real possibility? Oh, for sure. Just checking in on the standing. The 5 seed's starting to become a little spooky because the Pelicans are taking care of business. 2.5 games. There's still plenty of time. Now, I could be wrong, but as long as the Mavericks, I believe the Mavericks have a game left against the Spurs and a game left against the Rockets. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, 1 against the Rockets, 1 against the Spurs. If the Mavericks win, 2 against the Rockets, 1 against the Spurs. If the Mavericks win those 3, I believe they'll have the tiebreaker over the Pelicans because it'll come down to division record at that point. So you will have the tiebreaker over the Suns and the Pelicans for sure. And if you beat the Kings the next 2 games, you'll also have it over them. And you have the tiebreaker over the Lakers, and you can get the tiebreaker over the Warriors. So you're in a position where you can have the tiebreaker over every single team around you. Kind of crazy. Last year, I feel like that was not the case, right? But 6 seed is for sure still a possibility. You're a game back of the Suns. The Suns' schedule is really hard, but they're winning some games. They're playing much better lately. Their schedule's still brutal. I mean, they got Boston in Boston a couple nights from tonight. Thursday night. That's brutal. Charlotte at Milwaukee, at Denver, at New Orleans, Cleveland, Minnesota, New Orleans, Clippers twice, Kings, Minnesota. That is fucking crazy. That is a crazy, crazy stretch in the season. Now, end of season stuff can be really, really wonky. You could have a scenario where maybe the Clippers are pretty much locked into the 4 seed and they don't really give a shit about this game. Maybe you get Minnesota here last day of the season, locked in as the 2 seed. They don't give a shit about this game. Or they're the 2 seed and say, you know what, we kind of want to be the 3 seed. But they're playing better basketball. They are playing better basketball. They got that crazy win in overtime against the Nuggets. The Nuggets pooped in their pants, and Jokic had his worst game of the season, of course. Lost to the Celtics, but played pretty well in this game. Had like a decent chance to win it. And then the Cavs last night, where the Cavs pooped in their pants. But they got the win either way. So this is kind of what I've been trying to tell you guys with the strength of schedule stuff, where it's like you look at the Suns' schedule and it's like, oh my God, that's murderer's row. There might be some fuckery going on there. All right. There might be some teams that are coasting, teams that are purposefully tanking in an effort to drop in the seeding so they can get a more favorable matchup. So just keep that in the back of your mind, okay? I believe the Pelicans' schedule is a little bit rough as well over the next couple of weeks. The Cavs, the Clippers, at Orlando, at Miami, the Thunder, the Bucks, Celtics, Phoenix, twice. Hey, that's one of those for the Mavs. Hey, you know what? Beat each other up. That's good for us, actually. That's good for us. Does not sound like Steph's playing tomorrow, which the Mavs catch a break there. Need to take care of business. And then you look at the Mavs schedule. Jesus Christ, the next 3 games. Warriors, Thunder, Nuggets. Not the easiest. But then, Spurs, Utah. Take care of business there. Kings, you have to win those games. Houston, Golden State, a little tough. Brutal schedule. Brutal travel schedule here that makes no sense to me. Not the easiest end of the season schedule, but it's not the hardest. So take care of business, okay? But anyways, in this game, thought the Mavs played great. I mean, 44-16 first quarter. You can't have a better start than that. We've talked about how bad the Mavs have been starting games lately. It feels like every single game they find themselves in a double-digit hole early on and have to dig themselves out of it. And this time around, they just come out guns a-blazing. I mean, that's that. Will Şengün be out for the Houston game? I'd kind of be surprised if Şengün plays again this season. But what was the official diagnosis? It was a severely sprained ankle. That's what they said. Severely has escaped a major injury on his lower leg, suffering a severely sprained ankle. That feels like maybe a season ender. And a bone bruise on his knee. That feels like a season ender right there. Fortunate, though, that it's not some, an ACL tear. But definitely a season ender, though. Official diagnosis, it's real bad. It could be way worse, though. It could be way worse. But the Mavs just played great in this game. Offensively, they just picked them apart. I mean, that's Luka. If you're playing a team like the Bulls where they have a player like Vucevic, you're going to get feasted on. And that's why the Mavs versus the Suns is like Nurkic is going to get slaughtered in that series. He might not be able to play a single moment in it. Like, genuinely. Nurkic might not be able to play a second in a hypothetical Mavs versus Suns series. He's just going to get picked apart and eaten alive. We saw it with Vucevic tonight. Last night, sorry. Luka just picked them apart. The bigs feasted in the paint. It's part of what, these trades did for you is open things up. You can win in a bunch of different ways now. And last night, they seized an opportunity to just live in the paint. Yeah, they didn't even shoot the three ball well, 31% from three. But they put up 127 points. What was their half-court offensive rating? I need to know. Yeah, 119 points per 100 possessions. They only gave up 70 points per 100 possessions in the half-court. My God. That's pretty damn good, guys. That's pretty damn good. Some Mavs fans are trying to tell me Nurkic is a good matchup for Jokic. What should I say back? Nurkic has done decently well against Jokic in the past, though. Yes, we all know this is the Mavs team built for the playoffs. Of course, it's getting to the playoffs that is the problem. 9 of 22 on corner threes. 3 of 13 on corner threes. The Mavs have just not shot the corner three ball well lately. Is there a way I can look at those stats in recent games? %66 on corner threes against the Pistons. Holy shit. Yeah, PJ is taking that a little bit. I mean, look at this. Look at these. Look at this shooting accuracy numbers, man, from three. So it is nice that they're having offensive performances like this without the red hot shooting, because that's earlier in the season. That was maybe some red flags that would pop up, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they won this game, but they shot 44% from three. I think it's good that they're establishing other ways to win besides raining threes. So a nice win for the Mavericks. Interested to see what was going on with the Bulls. I'm going to check their subreddit because I've been watching a lot of Bulls games lately. They had a really solid road trip that they just got off of, a West Coast road trip. They had some nice wins, a win against the Kings, a really hard-fought overtime win against the Jazz. They beat the Warriors. DeMar got player of the week. Some crazy clutch performances. Kobe White set a career high against the Kings. And they just looked like, I don't know. What the fuck is this subreddit? Why is it red? Disgusting. Tatum was our highest scorer of the game. Hey, respect him, okay? Bulls made Gaffer and Lively look like Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Back to reality. Despite all the practice over the last decade, I still find it really fucking difficult settling in as a fan of a mid as fuck team. It's a bad place to be at. I hope we don't make the play-in so the front office sees how mediocre we are as a basketball team. Man, yeah. Just just a sloppy, terrible performance. I mean, they looked awful. They looked awful. I don't know what was going on. So, anyways, a nice win for the Mavs. Tough one for the Bulls. Isn't it really hard for the Bulls to miss playing? Yeah, they'd have to completely and totally collapse in on themselves. They have a 5-game lead on the Nets currently, an 8-game lead on the Raptors. It would have to require quite the collapse, one, from the Bulls, and two, the Nets to rally off a massive winning stretch, which does not seem possible in any real way. Does not seem possible in any real way. Like, how much do we need to donate to get you courtside at a Mavs game? Don't do that. How much do those cost? Let's see. 5,000? Really? I was thinking like 1,200. Oh, well, I'm not going to look at the Warriors game because that's probably insane. All right, let's look at March 21st, Jazz. One ticket courtside, please. Can you even buy these on like these type of ticket resellers? Like, is it even possible to buy courtside tickets on these? I feel like you have to go through some type of like channels in order to get it, right? They got to screen you in some way. Make sure you're not a fucking freak going to be sitting courtside. Buy it on SeatGeek. All right, well, I'm sure that's not a very fun viewing experience. All right, Suns beat the Cavs. Now the Suns tried their hardest, right? It looked like they were pulling away in the third quarter, 34-21 in the third quarter to win this one. But gosh darn it, they tried. They tried their absolute hardest. Donovan Mitchell's been dealing with a knee problem. Darius Garland. Did Darius Garland finish this game? Darius Garland twisted his ankle late. Did he come back in? I don't think so. I was watching this. I don't think he did. Craig Porter Jr. is a good player. He did come back? Okay. The Cavs had their opportunities down the stretch. I think it was a 2-point game late. A 2-point game late in this one. 30 seconds left. The Cavs chance to tie or take the lead. And what happened? Jared Allen turns it over. KD misses. All right. Chance to pretty much win the game here. Isaac Okoro rebound. Isaac Okoro standing out of bounds on the 3-point line. And that's the end of the game. Heartbreak. Wait, yeah, they gave Jared Allen? I was actually thinking in my head, I was like, wait, Jared Allen. They gave Jared Allen that turnover? Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. How? That fucked up lob attempt by Darius Garland? How on earth was that a... Okay. But a terrible ending. The Cavs are on my shit list. I'm not rooting for them to lose the rest of the season. I'm sorry, Cavaliers, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I have loved you guys very much. But, I just have to put you on my shit list from here on out, right? After that Mickey Mouse win you had against the Mavericks. a couple of weeks ago at this point, and this shit show. So rooting against you now the rest of the way. Worst of luck, guys. Worst of luck. Doesn't really sound like you need me to wish worst of luck on you because you have been decimated by injury so far this season. But the game's the game. The game is the game. It's not the shitless Cavs Sabonis assist. It's true. It's true. Warriors beat the Spurs. Trace Jackson Davis absolutely posterized Victor Wembanyama. I thought Victor Wembanyama had a pretty good quote about it after the game. Because, they want to get him like, whoa, what was it like getting dunked on? He's pretty much like, yeah, I'm going to get dunked on. So what? So what? This was kind of a nasty-ass dunk, though. Trace Jackson Davis is one of these guys I can see giving the Mavericks fits. Jackson Davis. Over Victor. That's crazy. That is crazy. Where's the quote? Victor Wembanyama was not fazed by Trace Jackson Davis' poster dunk on him last night. Getting dunked on is nothing. It's part of the game. I dunk on a lot of people, and a lot of people dunk on me too. But I think I block more often than I get dunked on, so that's positive. Great way to look at it. It's a great way to look at it. So what? Yeah, I got posterized. Come dunk on me again. I'm going to block it. Jesus. I mean, that's a crazy one. Saw some Warriors fans saying Trace Jackson Davis is the second best center in his draft class. You really can't take anything Warriors fans say to heart, okay? You just can't do it. They're unmatched by anything else in the league. They're unmatched by anyone else in the league, all right? Can't take anything they say to heart. Nuggets. The Raptors were up by, I think, 20 in this game. 22 points. Granted, I think it was in the first half that they were up by that much. A 22-point first half lead is like nothing. It's like nothing nowadays. It feels like it's almost 50-50 that team even wins sometimes. And the Nuggets, you just watch them. They're up 20 until 6 minutes in the third. Okay, well, there you go, actually. You just watch them play. And then they flip a switch, man. They flip a switch in the middle of games and decide it's time to win. We've talked about teams coasting and stuff like that. That's when a team reaches scary territory. When a team has completely and totally figured out what they need to do to win the game, and they're going to do exactly that. They're not going to exert too much effort. We just know, hey, we need it to be with the Raptors tonight. As long as it's a 20-point game with 6 minutes left in the third, we're good. As long as it's a 20-point game with 6 minutes left in the third, we got them right where we want them. That's fucking crazy, man. Jokic, 35 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists, 6 steals, 2 blocked. Christ. If they get the 1 seed, he's getting his third MVP, I think. I think that's where it's at. Is Jokic better than peak Sabonis? Or Vitas Sabonis? Is that who you're talking about? Oh, Domas. You're a Domas. So anyways, nice win for the Nuggets, who I believe are half a game out of the number 1 seed currently. Let's look at their schedule moving forward. Do they play the Thunder again or no? No. Fuck, that would be great. Finals rematch tomorrow night. They play Minnesota twice. That's kind of big. 3 times, actually. Holy shit, that's actually really big. Their schedule's pretty manageable, honestly. I think the Nuggets are going to be the 1 seed by the end of it. We beating their ass this weekend? Well, I hope so. Will Luka ever win an MVP? Yeah, he'll win one. If the Mavs manage to get to the 5 seed this year, he'll have an interesting argument. There's still enough time left in the season. We still have pretty much a full month. There's enough time for like a big final push. It doesn't feel like anyone has a stranglehold on it just yet. It does feel like Jokic's grip is tightening. But a crazy last month. What if Luka breaks the triple double streak? What if Luka gets 12, 13 straight triple doubles? And the Mavs end up as the 5 seed or the 6 seed. Predict every game till the end of the season. I'm not doing that. No. Celtics blow out the Trailblazers. Celtics 50 wins, 50-14. (50-14), man, that's great. Like we are back to the pass the ball fatty stage for Luka by the national media. I mean, the Mavs had a terrible 2-week stretch. Like that's just is what it is. They had a bad 2-week stretch and the media pounced on it. So you're a Boolean Saboner? Good. We can all agree these are the 9 best players in the league. Yeah, when the top 9's weird. AD? No. Guys, I'm not even trolling when I say that. I do not think Tatum is a top 10 player. I do not think Tatum has been a top 10 player in the league. I have to be brutally honest with you. And I'm not even just saying that to troll. I'm not saying that as to be a hater. I actually believe that. I think he's a good player. I think he's a great team player. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being a great team guy and being a guy who occasionally, every now and then, can completely take a game over. But that's the stage that he's at. Because you start to look at it. Okay, you have these guys. All right, I think putting LeBron here is a little generous, but okay. Well, then you have AD. Well, all right. D-Book. Donovan Mitchell. He's been pretty fucking good. Kawhi Leonard. He's been pretty fucking great. Pretty much all the guys I just said I think are better than Tatum. He's not a great team player. He's a player of the great team. No, I think he's a great team player. I do. I think he's a good team player. The case for Tatum's MVP candidacy that people kept parroting, which is a case against him. Funny enough, like the biggest case for Tatum being the MVP is the biggest case against him. He doesn't need to do anything. Okay, well then he's not the most valuable player. Like immediately, your argument is, well, he doesn't really need to do much. Okay, then he's not the fucking MVP. Wow, congratulations. Congrats. What a terrible, terrible take. But being a guy who goes games without shooting in the first quarter or without really even touching the ball, you got to be a good team player for that, especially when you're making $50 million or whatever the fuck it is, and you're in MVP conversations. Just, willingly not having the ball in your hand, I think. You're a good team player. I did see that the Cowboys were the only team in the NFL to not make a free agency move. Oh, I'm sorry. It is funny. It is funny, objectively speaking. It's pretty funny. You really can only laugh. What do we got across the league tonight? Sixers and Knicks. Yay. Both these teams. Who's even playing in them? Wizards and Grizzlies. Pacers, Thunder. Kind of fun. Rockets, Spurs. Celtics, Jazz. Timberwolves, Clippers. That's pretty juicy. Bucks and King. That's a good one. Come on, Milwaukee. Oh yeah, OG is back tonight. Yep, OG is back tonight. There you go. Remove the American bias. Jokic, Embiid, and Luka have low-key broken the NBA. Broken it? In what way have they broken it? Kings next 3 kind of tough. Well, here's the thing about the Kings. Like they'll win at least one of these 3 games, maybe even 2. Maybe even 3. But then they'll lose to the Grizzlies and the Raptors and maybe even the fucking Wizards. That's just an impressive win against the Lakers. And then a win that they got very lucky to get against the Spurs. I mean, very lucky to win that game. Incredibly fortunate that the Spurs collapsed in the way that they did. And then a real brutal loss against the Rockets. Kings feel like last year's Mavs. There's no last year's Mavs. No team's going to fall out of the play-in tournament entirely. It's like, I think the top 10 in each conference is pretty much set in stone. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. At my lowest point, when the Mavs were really struggling, the Rockets started to rattle off some wins. I'm not going to lie. At my lowest point, I thought to myself, oh, God. The Mavs play the Rockets twice. The rest of the season, like, oh, God. Şengün is similar mold of Sabonis. I think Şengün has more offensive upside than Sabonis. Okay. Sabonis has perfectly crafted his skills. This is why we talk about, guys, maybe focus on your strengths more so than trying to shore up your weaknesses. Because Sabonis said, hey, dribble handoffs, hard screens, get to the basket, rebound, finish around the rim with a million pump fakes and elbows to people's throats. Like, hey, that's my game. That's what I'm going to do. A couple elbows to the jugular, break a couple of windpipes, and lay the ball up. Now, there's a big thing that we haven't talked about here, but has been talked about widely. The scoring in the NBA going down in recent weeks, and a very clear-cut, obvious change. Very clear-cut, obvious change in how the game has been officiated. Defend his assist totals. Which I'm 100% here for. I'm 100% here for it. I want to let these guys play. Keep it up. It feels like they always do this change and then kind of get scared of it and revert back to where they were. Joe Mazzulla defends Jayson Tatum after last night's performance. I honestly didn't watch a second of this game. Was it that bad? 9 of 23, 2 of 8 from 3. 8 assists. He was horrendous? Really? Horrendous?
Same exact situation.
No, but my point is that Jayson's out there. I mean, it seems like at times he's struggling. He's trying to find a shot. He's trying to kind of get going.
26-8 and he 26-8 and 5.
Yeah, but 9 for 23. I mean, just there's.
But when Maxey did that, you said we couldn't stop him.
No, he did that in the fourth quarter.
Oh, God.
He killed you.
I remember he had like 30 points on 28 shots, and you were like, how come you couldn't stop him?
No, but he was. He killed you in the fourth quarter.
It's the same thing. It's the same exact situation.
No, but my point is that.
Hey, who's this reporter? Who's the reporter? The reporter's like, no. Maxey was good. Tatum was absolute ass. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Do you pull him aside? Do you do anything to try to get him going or get?
I think he's playing really good basketball. I think it just looks different. I mean, he had at least I saw 5 potential assists tonight. He had 26, 8 and 3. He's being patient. He's understanding where the game is coming from. Tonight he handled a little bit more on pick and roll. And I thought he made some good plays. He missed a couple of easy baskets at the rim. But, I think the whole, like you said, looking like he's struggling, I think that's kind of, you can talk yourself into some of those things. And I think people are so used to seeing him dominate in a different way. But we have a different team this year with different expectations, And the best thing, the most valuable thing that a guy like him can do is do what the game needs and do what the team needs. And then also be able to be yourself, which he's done for us. And so I think he just has to continue that. But
that reporter really was standing on business, man. That was hilarious. No. Maxey actually played good. I'm saying Tatum, who was fucking trash tonight. How do you explain that? Oh, man. He's an MVP, guys. Trust us. He just doesn't need to play like one. The media's just set him up for putting him in those convos. It's okay that he's not in those convos. It is. They got a great team. They built an incredible team. He's a good team player. He fits in well. He's a top 12 player, I think. An all NBA level player. Literally nothing wrong with that. When he gets hot, he can absolutely take over a game. He definitely gets, it's a little unfair what the media's done. Not fair to him. I tweeted that out and people replied, were like, oh, well, he went on that interview and said it too. Who gives a fuck? That's what the players are going to say. I'm talking about the media. They need an American-born player in the race. Tatum's not the guy for them. You could just tell. It's funny listening to Bill Simmons. He's like, right, Russello, this is why the Celtics need to win the finals so Tatum can fully become the guy, the American guy. Trust me, if they wanted Tatum to be that guy, he would already. They've been to the finals. They're in deep playoff runs every single year. Tatum seems like a really nice dude, really chill dude. He doesn't have the personality, to be honest with you. He's so unlikable. Really? Tatum's not unlikable. He's just kind of there. He's just kind of there. Where like Anthony Edwards has the flair. Anthony Edwards has the flair and the personality to be the face of the league. Ja Morant had the flair and the personality. And he still does. Just thinking for American-born players here. Nobody will ever be LeBron James. No one will ever be LeBron James. Legit once had a lifetime athlete. Their fan base is unlikable. It's not connected to. I mean, Tatum doing the Kobe stuff's a little cringy, but like outside of that, he really seems like a cool dude. I mean, I don't know. Here comes the LeBron propaganda. LeBron not a perfect face of the league. Man, we done with the 90s. Like genuinely a perfect face of the league. Ant is hella overrated. He is dumb. He is as dumb as privileged physically. Overrated in what way? Overrated in what way? Because he's definitely not consistent right now. He's got a lot of things he still needs to work out before he's at the level that people think he can reach. But can he reach that level? Yes. And I think that's what most people say, though. Like, whenever I hear people talk about Ant, they pretty much all say the same thing, which is, oh, he can do this. He can be this. Which he can be, for sure. He absolutely can be. People talk about Ant like he's a top 7 player a lot. Do they? What do you see LeBron doing in retirement? He's going to own. He's going to own a team, for sure. What does that look like? I'm not entirely sure. There's a lot of speculation that the NBA is waiting to expand after LeBron retires. So LeBron can retire. Boom. He gets the Vegas team, and that's that. No, I think he gets the Vegas team. Seattle's definitely coming back, but I think LeBron gets the Vegas team. What does Joel Moran thinks Ant is better than Tatum? That's just being on some Tatum hater shit. That's all that is. What does LeBron look like as an owner? Is he like a hands-on, like Mark Cuban, I'm also the GM? Because I feel like LeBron as your teammate is one thing. LeBron is your GM. Le GM. I feel like it would be a disaster, huh? Let's think about the Le GM moves. The Russell Westbrook trade, disaster. I feel like there's no way that's going to work. The GM got to be his official rank. What type of players would Bron draft? I mean, how many instances are there of these level players becoming good coaches or good executives? Jayson Kidd. Like Jerry West. Yeah, Jerry West comes to mind. Larry Bird wasn't a bad coach, right? Wasn't Bill Russell a good coach too? LeBron got the Heat to draft Shabazz Napier and left the same summer for Cleveland. Oh man. I mean, wasn't Jalen Hood-Schifino a Clutch client? Or was that who they drafted in the second round? You were high on Kobe Buffkin, buddy, and there's still time. And there's still time. Hey, look, I did my draft thing as like a. Can we look at that right now? Actually, I did my draft thing as just a fun. I did not think I was good at drafting. My draft. I'm actually scared to look at this. To be 100% clear with you, I'm actually scared. Wow, Fanspo's kind of a dark, desperate, sad place right now. I just saw a mock trade pop up. I'm actually scared to look at this. I'm gonna be real. I actually don't want to look at this. All right, Victor Wembanyama first. All right, I think I did a great job. All right. I think I'm a draft genius. Okay. Scoot 2. Now, okay. That's what everyone had. So that's not giving up yet. That's what everybody had. Now, I think my worst take here. Was that I said that there might be some teams who pump their fist because they're getting Scoot that need a point guard desperately bad. Maybe a bit of an oversight. Jarris Walker 3. Hey, hasn't gotten the run yet. Trust me. This will look like a genius decision in the coming years. Okay, trust me. Brandon Miller. Now I'm gonna be real. I thought I had Brandon Miller lower than this. I'm gonna be real. I thought I had Brandon Miller lower than this. Brandon Miller's been really good. Kobe Buffkin, there's still time. Give it time. Give it time. Anthony Black, he'll get there. Cason Wallace. Hey, Cason Wallace top 7. Not half bad. All right, a little low on the Thompson twins, but hey, you know what? Watching them play, there's definitely so much upside there. They do so many great things. But there is a concern. There is a concern that if they don't shoot or really tighten up their handle, there is a very, very limited upside to them. However, they do a lot. They do a lot really, really well. I've been impressed with them. A lot of upside there. Like, I love their game. I just love how they impact winning, despite the fact that they can't shoot or do much offensively currently. Taylor Hendricks, he's looked decent in some of his run. Cam Whitmore at 11. I think this is fair. I know like Cam Whitmore does some stuff from time to time where you're like, whoa, but man, he's got to learn how to play within the flow of an offense. I've watched a lot of Rockets games recently. It's still just like, he has moments, man, where it's just like, what is this fucking guy doing? When was this mock made anyway? This was a big board, not a mock. Grady Dick 12. Hey, he's been balling out lately. Jordan Hawkins, when he was out there, he was balling out. Hey, I'm actually impressed with this. Leonard Miller, he's been balling out in the G League. Jalen Hood-Schifino. Bilal Coulibaly had some moments. Bryce Sensabaugh, he's playing now. He's had some moments. Nick Smith Jr., okay. Now look. Now look. Okay. Go back to what I said about Derek Lively at the time. I said, and I quote, Derek Lively in the right situation, like Dallas, would be really good. Okay? Now that's really what I said. Verbatim. This isn't a mock draft. This is a big board. Hey, give Omax some time. Give Omax some time. Noah Clowney. Chris Murray. Hey, look how high I was on Trace Jackson Davis. Jaime Jaquez. All right, little fuck up there. Keontae George, a little bit of an oversight there. Are there any, like, Podzimski 32? Maybe a bit of a fuck up there. You know what? I think this is really good. I'm going to be real with you. I think this was really good because even the ones that you would say were wrong or mess ups, my line of thinking was correct. Even on the wrong ones. So I was actually never wrong. Because realistically speaking, you know, if Derek Lively's on the Brooklyn Nets right now, like, what are we talking about? He's on a great situation for him, and he's being maximized, and he's stepped up, and he's played incredibly well. Do they have a redraft tool? That would be fun, actually. Mock draft. Can I do an old one? This guy's number 1. Zachary, I know nothing about this draft. I don't even know who that is. I thought Alex Sarr was the consensus number one. Is that not the case anymore? KOC had. Who the hell did KOC have going number one overall? I don't even see him. Reed Shepard. KOC goes out there. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. He's not afraid of taking a risk. Dude, March Madness starts next week. I'm just gonna start getting a little bit more familiar with these guys. Gotta watch some conference tourneys this week. I'm pretty excited, man. Let's go. Red Raiders, let's do it, man. Our Cinderella run starts now. First week, March Madness excitement goes hard. Yeah. Another name, Dalton Kennett, the Tennessee guy, right? I do already know about him. He looks like a fucking dog to me. One of these players where I'm like, wait, why is this guy not higher? He doesn't guard. Whoops. He is an older prospect. Like, is that? Come on, man. I thought we were done with that. Well, some fucking team's gonna get him, and he's gonna be like the Heat are gonna draft him. He's gonna be. Mavs draft Zach Edey when they miss the playoffs. All right, guys. I'm actually kind of all in all like pretty impressed with my big board.